Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. My name's Jonathan. To my left, got John B, CEO, owner at Masters. What's up, my man?
Man, I like being called CEO and owner. It makes me feel like Elon Musk.
Yeah, and you are the Elon Musk of this company anyway.
That's
So
a great honor.
it is. I agree. And there's something about Masters. In case you guys didn't know, I think that separates us from all other fantasy football companies out there. Me and John are, we'll be your commissioners. We'd love to be here, and also, Darren too.
Yeah.
But just something I've been thinking about that I think separates us. In the decade that I've been doing this, every single live draft we run, I put my telephone number in. And it's the same number I've been using for 10 years. It's the same number that my mom calls me on. I think it's really cool that we have that relationship with our customers. And I don't always answer the phone. I mean, I'd be busy 24/7, but I do think this is pretty cool. Like, if anybody texts me, like, I'm always there to help guys
That is
out.
kind of cool.
I just think it's something that separates us. With that said, let's jump into this. One of our first dynasty draft, our first dynasty draft of the year is in the books. We're going to be doing wide receiver value picks that we seen in that draft. We just posted running backs and quarterbacks too, if you want to check that out. With that said, going to jump right into this, John, with your first dynasty wide receiver value pick.
Also want to point out that you've got the link to the draft. You want to just go and look at the entire draft. This is a live, this was a money draft too.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is
Sorry
real
about that.
cash.
Right down in the description, you'll see the link. Click on it. Take you right to the draft report. Be right in there with us, taking a look at it. Maybe give us some of your value picks. That'd be great.
Okay, well here we go. Right out of the get go, the there's a lot of value in the wide receivers and the running backs as in most drafts come off the board first. But in this draft here, Michael Thomas came off in 3.2. I think that's at least a round too late for him. I still think he should be a first round pick in most leagues. But in this particular draft, he came in 3.2. He's still in his prime. Last year, he was at worst minimum 1.5, and he was coming in front of Zeke. He was also coming in front of Kamara in a lot of drafts. Certainly, Saquon and CMC were the first two guys to come off the board. And obviously, last year, we think of last year as a lost season for Michael Thomas. And for the most part, it was because he was hurt most of the year. We all know about the high ankle sprain. We know something happened in week 7. Nobody really knows what it was, but something happened there. Uh, but here's what most of you don't know. The last 4 weeks of the season, he averaged almost 20 points a game. He was still getting 8, 9 targets. They say almost average. 3 of the last 4 games, he's getting almost 20 points. That was with Taysom Hill as his quarterback. And the only week he didn't produce was against the Denver Broncos, and the Broncos played without a quarterback.
Yeah,
That was a 33 to nothing game.
There was no need to throw the ball.
And they didn't.
They did.
And perhaps he only had 4 targets that game, but for the most part, he's had 8, 9 targets. It doesn't matter if it's Brees throwing to him with Taysom Hill, if it's Teddy Bridgewater. He's going to get 10 targets a game. He's going to get 8 receptions a game. He's going to get somewhere between 80 and 120 yards. He gets touchdowns almost every game. He's going to be. It doesn't matter. He is going to be a big part of the New Orleans offense, no matter who the quarterback is.
Yeah, I mean, here's a guy. His dip last year wasn't due to age. It wasn't due to lack of talent. Michael Thomas has it all. One of the most dominating wide receivers in the NFL. And even if he doesn't go back to the number 1 wide receiver, it wouldn't be surprised at all to see him finish in the top 5 at that position.
I'd be shocked if he wasn't in the
Yeah,
top five.
I actually agree with that. I think he's a really great value pick. Guys are going off what he did last year, and I actually agree with you. At least a round too late.
Yeah.
At least. And if you go back 2 years ago, I mean, we had finally started considering, is Michael Worth taken at the 1.1 in dynasty drafts? And I'm not saying that he was, but I'm saying that you could certainly make a case for that. And he had a down year. Yeah, I agree. A ton of value there in Michael Thomas.
I got to tell you, looking right at a lot of times when you're looking for value at drafts, you're looking down at the bottom of the draft for value, and it was just odd to see this value at the top. I mean, I go the very next running wide receiver off the board was CeeDee Lamb, which makes him wide receiver 10. I got to tell you, I got CeeDee Lamb as, I mean, maybe there's 3 or 4 wide receivers I'd rather have than him, but there certainly is not 10 that I'd rather
Yeah,
have
not
than him.
many.
He's his biggest thing. He's attached to Dak Prescott, and I just some of the he broke out huge at the beginning of the year last year, and then the end of the year, he didn't do so well. But he had Ben DiNucci, Gary Gilbert, and Andy Dalton throwing him the ball, and you know what? All those pass catchers, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, they all kind of fell off the wagon there.
Yeah, and I had looked into that stat actually because I thought about doing CD Lamb. It was a different show we were doing, and I think he had finished somewhere around 19th or 22nd. So I had switched it to see where he without Dak.
Right.
Weeks 5 to 16. In the fall, I mean, he went down like 12 spots without Dak to finish out the last 3 quarters of the season. So definitely a drop off there for sure.
Quite a drop off.
Yeah, I mean, and a guy, a rookie that's competing for balls in Dallas. I mean, who knows? He could end up being the alpha wide receiver there. Wouldn't surprise me at all, even though I'm an Amari Cooper guy.
You know what? I do think he's the alpha wide receiver.
I know you do. That's why I said it.
Okay.
So, I mean, and it's up for debate, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised at all. All right, going to jump right in here into one of mine. And it's the 10.10 pick, wide receiver number 51 off the board. And I'm not even a super fan of this guy. I know Alec and the Doc, we spoke about him quite a bit. Henry Ruggs, Las Vegas Raiders, the 51st wide receiver off the board. And I'm just kind of looking at it, and something I find interesting. He was the first wide receiver drafted in the actual NFL draft last year. If you go back and look, every single rookie was drafted ahead of him this year in that Dynasty draft. Rager, Chenault.
Rager was too?
Every one of them. Pittman, Rager, Chenault. If you want to take a look at that, click on that link there in the description. Take you right to the draft report. I always switch it at the top to wide receivers. That way you just get them all down. I just don't think – and this is another reason that I'm choosing Ruggs. Because if you do that, if you switch it to wide receivers, take a look at the 20 guys that were drafted after him. There's maybe a case can be made for one or two of those guys to have more potential,
right,
than Ruggs, in the next coming years. And obviously, all the stats are out there. Ran that super impressive 40 at 4.27. I mean, the guy put up quicker numbers than Tyreek Hill. And something I really liked about him, and you actually won't find this if you look up the yards per catch leaders in the NFL. He didn't qualify with enough catches, but on his 23 catches, he averaged 17.4 yards a catch, which actually put him number 4th in the NFL on yards per target, yards per catch. I mean, the guy just flat out has speed. And that whole Oakland offense, that whole Las Vegas Raiders offense, I mean, just never quite got clicking. I mean, and for me, it's just potential. Like I said, look at all the other guys drafted after him.
When did it change? It used to be that wide receivers it took it's third-year wide receivers, and now you need to produce right now.
Yeah, immediately. Which I'm shocked. I mean, and I actually want to ask you and the guys at home. I mean, because I can't figure out why Mims, Pittman, maybe Chenault, with Trevor Lawrence coming, or even really Judy or Rager. I didn't understand why they went so much higher than them.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah.
All I know is I trade for Denzel Mims in every league, and the Jets had to go ahead and win a couple games. It kind of messed me up there.
Right. So I think it's a great value there. And I'm going to take, one step further. If, you're in one of our existing Dynasty leagues, I mean, go take a look for this guy. I mean, if that's where his values drop to, I mean, his ceiling hasn't changed much from where we were a year ago. So a guy that I really like, that's my first one.
All right.
All right.
You get the second one, too?
I do.
did, too.
I got it. I'll go into my second one here. That was at 9.10. Wide receiver number 46 off the board, McCole Hardman. We talked about it a couple episodes again. This guy was drafted to be Tyreek Hill's replacement a couple years ago. And as I was thinking about that, so I pulled up their stats to look at them. I didn't realize just how close. Tyreek Hill's 5'10", 187, and McCole Hardman is 5'10", 185. They're
they are
literally clones of each other. I just said it on the quarterback show. If you haven't seen the quarterback value show, you should check that out. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is getting $500 million. It's going to be really hard to keep the Tyreek Hills and the Travis Kelce's, in that lineup. I mean, this is the next guy up. He was selected to replace Tyreek Hill anyway. And maybe that's not going to happen this year. Maybe it doesn't even happen the following year. Here's a wide receiver 46. You could potentially have Patrick Mahomes' number one weapon 3 years from now.
It's kind of crazy. This is, we did the quarterbacks and the running backs and the wide receivers, and Chiefs been in every one. We had Clyde as a running back. We had Mahomes. It just seems odd. And I'm a heart.
And I'm not even a big Kansas City Chiefs guy, but I do think there was a ton of value for Kansas City Chiefs. And then I'd wrote down there 40 times too. They were so close in size and speed. Tyreek Hill edged them out. But I mean, they're 4.33 versus a 4.29. I mean, they're literally clones of each other.
They are.
And I mean, you see what Patrick Mahomes can do with Tyreek Hill. No reason to think. And I even think next year, because Sammy Watkins probably won't be back. Because you have to look at him. McCole Hardman's probably been like a number 5 option on that team. So obviously his stock has slid down, but this is a dynasty league, guys. And years coming, he's only going to go up the pecking order.
So what you're saying is, if you get down to the 12th, 13th round, you still see him there. See him there. Just
don't
go
even
ahead and take
hesitate.
him.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Yep. All right. And your last guy?
I don't have a last guy. I already
okay.
did my last guy.
Oh, that's right. All right, guys. That's going to wrap up this one. Appreciate you so much for listening. If you could hit that like and subscribe button. Also, leave us your wide receiver value picks. Love to hear them.
All right.
Any last words?
I do. Go buy an Orphan.
Yeah. Did you post any new ones today?
I did. I posted 7 Orphans today.
Okay.
And when you say 7 Orphans, it sounds like a lot of Orphans. We have 7,200 individual Dynasty franchises right now. So there's a lot of, you know, mastersfantasyfootballleagues.com. There's a lot of lot of teams there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and selling some straggler orphans now. Also getting ready for the Great Orphaning, which will be coming up pretty soon. One of my favorite days we have here. So, all right. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's
Appreciate it.